Right, let's, before we go, get on with our team selector. We've not spoke much about Norwich City, but we can speak about them whilst we select the side and why we would pick the team we would to take on the Canaries. Of course, a repeat of the opening day win of the season for Liverpool down at Carrow Road. It's been changed at Norwich since Daniel Farke has gone and in comes Dean Smith. But in terms of the 11, I'll kick us off. Alisson Becker, after Jurgen Klopp said in the press conference there'll be no competitive football for Caoimhin Kelleher ahead of the Carabao Cup final. So, Joe, I'll throw to you. What's the back four going to be?
Trent at right back. I really liked the look at Konate the other night. I think understated. He's been just such a hell of a signing for Liverpool. He looks like he's got so much potential. He's got so much presence, hasn't he? And I thought whilst Van Dijk was very, very good the other night and took a hell of a lot of plaudits, Konate alongside him was equally as impressive. So I'd be tempted to keep him in, but then with the games coming, perhaps it makes sense to put him back in against Leeds and put Matip in here. So, yeah, I suppose I'll do that. Matip and Van Dijk. And then I think Tsimikas obviously had a good first game of the season, didn't he, against Norwich? And again, Robertson, you can use them in different games. So I'll put Tsimikas into at left back.
Yeah, I suppose, Sean, there is going to be changes, isn't there, between this game and the game midweek ahead of the cup final. Half the side may be rested and half in the other game, just kind of which way you split it. But what would your defence be?
Yeah, I think I've got exactly the same as Joe. Trent, I'd basically rest Trent for one of these two home games and Robertson for the other. Albeit resting Trent is just difficult, isn't it? Because who is the Tsimikas? There isn't someone who is an obvious play to put in there who can partly replicate what he does. But yeah, for this one, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk and Tsimikas for me.
Theo, are you completing the set?
Yeah, I agree. If you're going to rotate, you're probably going to do half and half, aren't you, for these two games and then go full strength for the final. Talk about deputy for Trent. Well, he's at Fulham, isn't he? Nico Williams. So it's either a Milner or a Joe Gomez. And it's still a big ask if you want to put Joe Gomez at right back. You'd say Norwich maybe not as challenging for him as against Leeds, where he could go up against a Dan James or Rafinha or one of those sorts of players. But it's still hard to look past Trent. I think he's one of those players that when he's fit, you start him, and unless he's absolutely knackered. And like he said in that press conference in midweek, he's in the form of his life at the moment. So Trent starts. Konate, I think maybe you do keep him in for this one with Van Dijk, and then Robertson can be left back, and then it's against Leeds when you'll maybe put in Tsimikas, Matip or whatever, and then rotate it for giving them a chance to rotate for staking their claim for the final.
All right, Theo, what about your midfield three then?
Midfield three. That's a tough one. Fabinho holding, I think taking him off early that makes sense for him to keep that place. And then Naby Keita and Henderson, they did so well coming off the bench. I wouldn't be against just letting them start this one. But talking about strength and depth, there are so many options with these two league games. You are going to need to have a look at an Oxlade-Chamberlain, maybe even a Curtis Jones. We've just been singing his praises. But when they've just come on and played such a big role in Liverpool getting the job done against Inter Milan, I reckon they both deserve to start this one.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you make the changes, you need Henderson in there, don't you? That mentality. Sean, what about yourself with the midfield?
Yeah, I think this is the most difficult area to pick, really. I would go Fabinho deep and Henderson and Thiago. And the reason for Thiago, I think Keita would start in midweek. Keita definitely starts one of these two. But I'd have Thiago on the left of the midfield just because Tsimikas comes in and, spoiler, but I'm going to throw Diaz in as well. So I think you want someone who is just definitely a calm, composed figure on that left side of the midfield and just has the experience just to guide those two through if needed. But yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with these two. I wonder if there's an opportunity for one of them to rest Fabinho and put Henderson as the six again, because obviously he came on and did so well in that role against Inter. But yeah, I'd go with that midfield of the main three fellas for this one.
Joe?
You can, yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it? And
so many options.
I've almost talked myself into playing Curtis Jones now. I'd be tempted. And look, you could sort of make this argument for the Leeds game. I want to play Naby Keita. I think this is a good game for him. I want to give Fabinho a rest in one of these two games. but I feel like Leeds are slightly more dangerous, so I think I'll give him a rest here. So I'll play Henderson in the 6. And I have talked myself into playing Curtis Jones, and I'm also, another spoiler, I'm also going to give Diaz, but I like the idea of putting Thiago in for that reason. But I think, Josh wrote something today about Norwich being susceptible to players that cut in on the right foot. So I'm going to put Jones on that side and just double up and have all these players cutting on their right, shooting from everywhere.
You don't want Milner at left back.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, no, I'll put Jones, Keita, and Henderson as my slightly ill-balanced middle 3.
Right, okay, fair enough. Sean, I'll come round to you. You can lead on the front 3. I mean, you have got Trent. Does that mean there's no Mo, or are you going to go against Leeds with no Salah or Trent, or are you going to just keep playing Mo all the time?
Yeah, well, with Salah and Mane, I'd take the same approach as I would take with Trent and Robertson, and I'd start one of them in each of these 2 home games before the final. So, yeah, I'd have Salah, Firmino, and Diaz going across the front line. I think, like Joe said, I saw a little bit of the City Norwich game, and Sterling, albeit all his goals didn't come from that flank. He had this penalty rebound, didn't he? And the one he tapped in, I think, was from a set piece. But that one where he cut in and just made mincemeat of like their whole right hand side. You just think the flashes we've seen of Diaz so far, where he's come in and done exactly that and dribbled past players and just looked very threatening and very settled very quickly. I think his eyes will be lighting up if he gets a start, and hopefully he does.
Joe, what about yourself?
Luis Diaz has gone straight into my fantasy football team, and he's going to go straight into my fantasy Liverpool team for Norwich tomorrow, because I honestly think he came on, didn't he, and almost scored straight away in Milan. With the little ball, I think Trent put him through, didn't he? Yeah. I think he's going to play tomorrow, and I think he's going to give us another reason to be very excited. So him and, like Sean, Firmino and Salah, and you just don't drop Salah, do you, at the moment? So that's mine.
No, he's looking for what, 150th Liverpool goal. So can he get it? Theo, is he in your team?
Yeah, he is. I think he's, again, one of those players that you just can't drop, and he's got good form against Norwich. He's got good form against Leeds. So he might be a rare exception who has to just play every minute, and then you get the job done, take him off in 60 minutes. Diaz, I agree. There's the excitement there. It's the sort of game you want to start in. Klopp said he didn't want to get him involved against Burnley because it's a real welcome to the Premier League. It's completely different to Leicester the week before. Well, Norwich and Leeds, these are the sort of games you can play him for. It's a bit harsh on Sadio Mane, especially after taking off on the hour mark. There is an argument to say maybe putting him up front with through the middle there, but Firmino, he can keep his place, and then you just got to hope that you can unleash an angry Sadio Mane off the bench, and he can do enough to get into the starting 11 and make a claim for the final. Hopefully be the winner in the final. He's already got a taste of that this month. It does feel harsh though, like just come back from the Africa Cup of Nations. They've signed a £40 million signing in your absence, and now you haven't done anything wrong. You're back in form, but you're still on the bench. But yeah, Diaz is the exciting. He's a new toy. Let Liverpool play with him. He's out the box. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against maybe seeing him through the middle. He seems to have, for someone who we were told was going to play very much off the left-hand side and cut in, he's played very centrally, even sort of during open play at times, and San Siro was running all around the pitch. But
it's where his shot came from, wasn't it?
Yeah, we will have to kind of wait and see what will happen with him. But what about match predictions then? Sean, I'll come to you first. What's your score going to be?
Not a good day for Delia. 3-0 to Liverpool.
Joe?
An even worse day for Delia. 4-0 to Liverpool.
Oh, let's be having you. Theo, what's the score going to be?
An even worse day for Delia. 5-0.
Right, so the Reds will have the Canaries playing to their tune, according to us. Do make sure you catch all the reaction across the Liverpool Echo website and come back here to the Blood Red channel for our post-match debrief show, as well as Jurgen Klopp's press conference in full. Of course, on Monday, we will be back to react to the weekend's fallout and plenty more besides. But from myself, Guy Clark, Sean Bradbury, Joe Rimmer and Theo Squires, thanks for your time and your company. It's bye for now.